roušku na střelnici. Finský protest byl uznán a tak německá dvojice byla diskvalifikována. Celé to pořadí se posunulo, český tým končí na 6. místě, což je, jak jsme říkali, nejlepší, respektive vyrovnání nejlepšího historického umístění Ondry Moravce a Gabriely Soukalové z Kontiolahty z závodu světového poháru v roce 2015. Nechme tedy smíšené štafety dvojic a pojďme se podívat k těm klasickým smíšeným štafetám.
Když tě nahlásí na oba, tak nemusíš.
Giacomo, Norové mají startovní číslo 3, Siri Skarlová, Irvin Landmark Tantroldová, Johanna Bolton a Izák Legines Frey. Startovní číslo 4, to jsou Finové, Inka Hamalajnerová, Venla Lehtonenová, Tomás Harjula a Otto Invenius. To je startovní číslo 4. O české čtveřici už jsme mluvili a my se z okruhu 1,5 kilometru přesuneme do 2kilometrového okruhu. A budeme držet palce dámy, která klasicky rozbíhá české kvarteto a doufejme, že to rozběhne k naší všeobecné spokojenosti. Zaplněné tribuny Vysočina Areny. Přátelé, vítejte, začínáme a to přesně za 5 minut.
Welcome back to Nove Mesto as the final week of action ahead of the Olympic Games continues into our final event of this mixed relay day, and it is indeed the mixed relay now that takes centre stage. 2 kilometre loops. We have 2 men that will follow 2 women over 4 legs with 2 visits to the range for each leg. The longer penalty loop in action once again after the single mixed relay earlier on today. Under freezing conditions here in Nove Mesto. It's looked good underfoot, -1 the air temperature. Chad Samala alongside me. Chad, it's always an interesting one, isn't it, the final stops before the Olympic Games, and it's interesting to see how different teams have approached this mixed relay. The name that pops out with one of the strongest on the lineup today is, of course, Italy, who finished second in Östersund, and it's a star-studded quartet for them.
It is, and they're trying to get their medal preparations going, as this event will be held in just 14 days, the opening event of biathlon at the Olympic Games. So just a single day of mass start between today and the mixed relay of the Olympics. This is a pretty big deal for a lot of these teams. I think Italy has probably got their best foot forward today because everybody they need for that quartet in the Olympics is here today, and they're on the start order.
Yeah, you make an excellent point. The 8th of February is when the biathlon events at the Olympic Games kick off, and it does indeed with this event. And well, just taking a look at the start order there, Chad, we've mentioned Italy, but France as well. They've put out a really strong quartet today.
Absolutely. Oscar Lombardo is their weakest link, and he's 25th ranked or 22nd ranked in the World Cup. Everybody else is in the top 12. Océan Michelin taking the team out. Justine Bressard-Boucher. Lombardo will go third, and Quentin Fillon will bring it home for the French. Now, is that the French best quartet they could put on the field to play at this moment? Probably not, but it's still pretty formidable, and I think they're probably still co-favorites with the Italians.
Yeah, you mentioned Oscar Lombardo, 22nd in the world as things stand, but had a really solid performance the last time he stepped foot on a relay team for France. That was in the single gender relay a couple of weeks ago, second relay win, and he's already really growing into this position, and a good chance for him today. It is a very different look German team, Chad, as we see how they'll line up on your screens now.
Yeah, it's, with a lot of their athletes still who made the Olympic team away training for the Olympic Games, this is just what the Germans can put together for a team here in this mixed relay. It's not going to be their Olympic quartet by any means. This might be close to it for the Czech Republic, but I don't know if the Czechia is if this is their best foot forward yet either. They certainly don't have their superstar Marketa Davidova on the lineup.
Here's the lineup for Finland. Otto Invinius will bring them home, and it's Inka Hämäläinen who will kick things off for the Finns. And you can see the Czechia flags, of course, flying high. A very different look for the Norwegian team as well in comparison to the team that ran out third in Östersund. Shirley Skar, Ingrid Lamott Tanvold, Johan Olav Botten and Isak Frey, their quartet. And the Italians led out by Dorothea Vera, who is in exceptional form ahead of the Olympic Games. And it really does feel like the countdown is on for her, as well as her teammate, of course, Tommaso Giacomelli, ranked number 1 in the world. And no Italian man has won a gold medal at the Olympic Games in solo competition this year. It feels like it could be history that's made on Italian snow, Chad.
Absolutely. I think the Italians have multiple medals threats. I would say they have a medal threat in almost every single event in biathlon at the Olympic Games, and that's a pretty exciting place for the Italian squad to be coming to their home Olympics on the Antolz venue.
Well, the anticipation building is always a very atmospheric start area here in Nove Mesto and the Sochina Arena. Sweden were bib number 7, led out by Johanna Skottheim. These infamous dongs ahead of the call to start in the final team event before the Olympic Games, and indeed the team event that will kick-start the Olympic Games on the 8th of February. And we are underway here in Nove Mesto. A thriller awaits, we hope, today.
The United States with a strong effort here today, putting Deidre Irwin out first, the most experienced biathlete of their quartet. They were 6th at the opening mixed relay in Östersund in December, with Maxime Germain, Campbell Wright, Chloe Levins, and Deidre Irwin. The only difference here is they'll have Margie Freed going in place of Chloe Levins today, and that's a pretty solid. That's a pretty solid group for the United States. Can they figure into the podium picture? I think that if there are some mistakes ahead of them and they keep the shooting clean, they have every bit the ski power to be there.
And it is bib number 1, and the French who have started the quickest through Océan Michelin, leading through these early twists and turns through the forest and the tunnels here in Nove Mesto. Chad, we saw a glimpse of the Czech team. They, of course, have a huge amount of history in this event. World champions in Kontiolahti in 2015. They took the silver medal in Lenzerheide last year, and their hopes will be as high as ever going into the Olympic Games.
Absolutely, as they should be. I think that they've got the firepower to really make an impression there and take some medals home, and that's all everybody wants. All the adjustments are going in now. The athletes you see on the start order here in Nove Mesto are choosing to use these races not so much to continue their prowess on the World Cup, but to kind of fine-tune their approach to those Olympic Winter Games just 2 weeks away. And 14 days is not a lot to adjust. So everybody making those adjustments accordingly, and the athletes who are here they need these races to get ready.
Someone who's had to make adjustments in the last couple of seconds, Inka Hämäläinen, you could see going down there, the Finnish athlete, and was chased by one of the coaches to deliver a new pole. She's quickly back to her feet, and you can see her just off the back of this leading pack as they come up the tunnel climb and begin to emerge into the range.
If there's ever a good time to have a broken pole, it's probably right now, because the pace tends to go out relatively slowly in the first leg of a relay. The very first lap is not ceremonial, but close to it. In most cases, we've seen some athletes push the envelope a little bit. This season, the opening comes to mind, the opening World Cup in the men's relay. Martin Oldal got the nod, and he really strung the field out in the first lap of that men's relay. But for the most part, you can look and see the pace is not terribly fast. Dorothea Vera out at the front, kind of controlling it, not really letting anybody get a flyer off the front, and keeps the pack relatively together. So Hämäläinen should be able to get back on this group.
Yeah, you can see the extension onto the course as they take that long turn out and back around into those two grandstands and the tunnel.
Temperatures a little bit warmer today than they've been all week long here. They still under freezing, but the temps have been quite cold. You can see the frost on the trees. The humidity in Nove Mesto is over 90% the entire week long, so it's very heavy, highly dense air for these athletes at this venue.
That's such a brilliant part of the course, and those two temporary stands packed full and plenty jostling for position up on the bridge to catch a glimpse as the biathletes make their way down this descent.
Yeah, this venue is really a great venue. The course, it challenges every part of the skier. You can see right here, very high speed. It's not necessarily a dangerous or scary turn at the bottom, but you have to have your wits about you. You have to be good on the downhill skiing, and the climbs are very tough. This is a tough course in terms of testing your physical ability, and it's not the easiest approach to the range. This is coming up into the stadium here, this long climb. It's a long ways to the range at the top of this climb, but still there's nowhere to rest between here and the shooting range. And if you're a stronger skier, you can use it to your advantage coming in head to head on this range. So it's a very good course. It's one of my favorite courses on the entire circuit.
So the big hitters positioning themselves at the front of the field: Italy, France, Sweden, Norway, Germany, all up there as they are led into the range by Dorothea Vera. Experienced Italian heading towards her final Olympic Games.
No real separation between 14th and first. A little bit of a gap between 14th and 15th, about 4 seconds. So Dieter Earn at the back of that lead group, one ahead of Kazakhstan, who's in that lead group, coming into shooting number 1. Athletes shoot on their bib number this first time, and then they file in the rest of the shooting stages for the rest of this mixed relay based on where they are in the standings.
Well, the home fans will be delighted to see Jessica Hyslova with the best prone shooting hit rates in this pack, who have filed in 96% for the Czech athlete as they'll drop down into the prone position.
Great strategic use of her, because she is not a fast skier. She is a far better shooter than a skier, but this is what you need in the first leg.
Great start from Dorothea Vera, but there's the miss now. Sweden moving well. 2 misses for the Italians. It'll be Sweden who break the position, with Austria and Slovenia up there as well. Czechia with a miss. Norway perfect so far, but slow shooting, and now the miss comes for Norway. Italy into the extra rounds, but nowhere near the penalty loop for both Dorothea Vera and the Frenchwoman Oceane Michelon.
Interesting that Johanna Skottheim goes clean 5 for 5 as the Anna Gantler. They're perfect, as is Rapinch from Slovenia. The first 3 skiers out of the first shooting are all clean. Vital for Germany had an extra round. She's very quick to that. But for great lead for Skottheim, because Skottheim and Heidenberg, who will go second, they are likely fighting it out here in Nove Mesto for the final spot on the Swedish Olympic team. And you want to prove, if you want to go to the Olympics with a more than 4 athletes on the roster, which Sweden will, to go with 6, and have a chance at racing it at the Olympics, your best likelihood is to make it as a relay skier. And Skottheim is making a case for herself in this first shooting stage. Looking at her shooting time, Skottheim Gauntler comes up first with 23.9 seconds. Skottheim 24.1. They're the two fastest, and they're at the front of the field. No big surprise there.
So it is Skottheim of Sweden who leads the way. Too far behind though, Ocean Michelon and Dorothea Vera. That's the Swedish team already. Chance mentioned Anna-Karin Heidenberg and then Victor Brandt and Malte Stefansson. The final two in the quartet. It's the switch of the order from what we saw in Östersund, with the men going first on that day and the women going second. It will be the men who bring things home here in Nove Mesto. There's Repinch of Slovenia in that fluorescent green kit, fights her way up the climb and into the lead.
Repinch ranked 49th in the World Cup standings, 22 years of age, a young athlete still making her way into the World Cup elite. But Slovenia, I peg them as a pretty solid group of four. They don't have any real standouts, but every one of their athletes is near the top 50. Anton Vidmar in 61st ranked in the overall World Cup standings, but going out with Repinch in 49th and Klemencic in 23rd in the standings. It's a solid team that Slovenia is putting forth, as long as they keep the shooting at a high level, which every one of their athletes is over 80% in prone, and 75% is the average in their standing shooting. So the Slovenians have what it takes to be up there in this mixed relay. It's a good quartet, and they lead now early.
And it is Anna Repinch who is holding the lead still, as Hannah Skottheim struggling and dropping back into the chasing duo of Ocean Michelon and Dorothea Vera. It was Anna Repinch who was part of the Slovenian single mixed relay team in Nove Mesto last year. He finished 6th. Another solid day in the office for the Slovenian team.
Repinch is the personal best individual performances. To put it in perspective, she's been 16th. It's the best she's been. That came this season in the individual in Östersund. She was 3rd in the individual as a junior at the Junior World Championships in 2024 in Otepää. So she against her own age group, she's quite good and has a history of being good. She's just 22 years of age, so 72 World Cup starts. She's just getting more seasoned at the front of this field, but she does give up the lead now to Anna Gauntler of Austria.
Vidal of Germany in second. Repinch side by side now with Ocean Michelon, who has dragged Dorothea Vera and Hannah Skottheim back onto this leading group of 3, which now becomes 6 as they prepare to come round into the range once again.
Gauntler, Repinch, and Skottheim of the lead group, all perfect on the shooting range. Vidal had an extra round. Michelon had 2, as did Vera. So you can see how quickly both Vera and Michelon have made up that gap in the extra rounds.
So a train of 6 into the range. Shooting 2. They'll have an extra lap and then they will exchange onto the second leg races for each of the nations, but it is as they come onto the range. And if you're separating this top 6.
If you're in this position and you've got the Olympic Games, if you're 14 days away, you want to be putting yourself, that kind of pressure on yourself to perform through that stress. And that's what this last event is all about for these athletes, is replicating, thinking this is the Olympic Games. If they're getting the start, can they come through and deliver for their team for a medal?
Slovak of Czechia leading the chase pack into the range. Miss for Italy to kick things off. Great from Ocean Michelon so far. There's the miss though.
Very quickly though. Oh, Skottheim goes clean, 10 for 10 in blistering fashion. France comes up right behind her, and so does Gauntler.
And it's another miss for the Italian Dorothea Vera. Well, it looked like she was dropping back on the skis, Chad, but a perfect performance in the range for Johanna Skottheim, who will lead as they make their way out onto the final lap. Germany wants around the penalty loops. Slovenia break the position.
And Dorothea Vera needed all 3 extra rounds to get the 1 shot, so she missed twice from the extra rounds, costing her a ton of time. She's going to be over 20 seconds back now. Italy chasing from behind, 23.7 seconds back at 9th place.
Well, there is still a very long way to go in this race.
Well, especially if you look at who's coming. You still got Vitozzi, Tommy Giacomel, and Lucas Hofer. They should be able to make up this time on the field, on the team ahead of them.
Of course, Lucas Hofer already standing on the podium this week in Nove Mesto. And we don't need to mention what Tommaso Giacomel and Lisa Vitozzi can do and have done in the course of the last couple of years.
Fastest shooter, Lynn Hackey-Gross, gets in under the 20-second mark, 19.1 seconds. That's always a fast. Anything under 20 seconds is pretty quick. Dieter Irwin, 4th fastest time in 26.4 seconds with 1 extra round on the day used. That was from the prone position. So Irwin has the Americans in 6th spot where they finished last time this event was contested. And we should point out that the Swedish team behind Johanna Skottheim is not the team we're used to seeing. There's no Martin Ponsiluomade, no Sebastian Samuelsson, so they got to keep it at the front.
I have to give a word on Inka Hämäläinen, just 2 extra rounds used. She's 22 seconds behind the time of Skottheim, and that is with the fall on the first lap, recovering incredibly well, the young Finn.
Now Michelin enforcing her will on the front of the field. Shooting's all done. She did her job, 3 extra rounds, and now trying to put the hurt to the rest of the field, and she's doing just that. Gondler, the only one really responding to the pace of Michelin now. Skottheim has dropped off the pace. Hackey-Gross certainly has. She's 10.3 seconds back now after being just 4 seconds back not long ago, 400 meters ago.
It's Dorothea Vera leading the chase pack, 21.7 seconds down and hot on her heels. Anna Maka of Poland, Lena Lipinch of Slovenia, and Inka Hämäläinen. And they're not too far behind them. Deidre Irwin of the USA sits in 9th. Sully Skar of Norway in 10th. Čislova with work to do for the Czech team. They're down in 11th. 4 extra rounds used. Dorothea Vera, 5 extra rounds used around the first 2 visits for the range for the Italian team.
Well, Ocean Michelin making a bit of a gap on the Swedes now at 4.3 seconds back at 4.8K. But Skottheim doing good damage control. She's not letting them get too far away yet. She's clearly struggling as Skottheim led after shooting 2, but now trails by 4.3. It's going to be by more than that, I think, at this 5.6 kilometer time check of the 6 kilometer first leg.
2 kilometre laps. Much longer than what we saw in the single mixed relay, which each of the athletes will have to take on 3 times across their leg. And of course 2 shooting stages. Anna Gandler now launches the attack for Austria. Perfect shooting day for her so far, and she's found something on the skis, trying to break Michelin as they come towards the exchange. A big move from the Austrian.
And she needs to get every ounce of speed she can, every second she can for the Austrian group. They've got Patrick Jakob and Dominik Unterweger, both of them quite slow on the skis by comparison to the field. So if they can get them an advantage with Anna Juppe in second spot for the Austrian team, they're the 2 highest ranked athletes in their quartet today on the World Cup rankings.
And here is the exchange, and the second leg athletes waiting patiently. And a big charge for Anna Gandler, who will hand Austria over in first. A punch of the air, it's her job done. Perfect shooting and handing over in first. She couldn't have asked for any more. And the French team just 1.3 seconds behind Brassard Boucher on this leg. Vitozzi moving into position, waiting for the arrival of Dorothea Vera. There's Ingrid Landmark Tangervold, who's keeping an eye out for Sully Skar's arrival.
Dorothea Veer looks a little shy of her best ski performance on that leg. She's maybe keeping her training load a little bit higher to ensure that she bounces back for the Olympic Games, but she lost a good amount of time in that leg. She's 26 back at the exchange after leaving the shooting range, 23 back, so she loses 6 seconds. And the Germans way back, Anna Weidel, back in 13th position, handing off to Hanna Kebinger.
It's around the penalty loop. Weidel had to go because Mina on this second leg for Slovakia. That's the handover of the Swedes.
And they know they're each trying to beat the other one out for a spot on that Olympic team. It's an odd handoff, but the teamwork to make the dream work, but still knowing that you're trying to outperform your teammate for that spot. Now Heidenberg's chance to shine, as Skottheim went perfect on the shooting range, 10 for 10, and tagged off at 12.8 seconds back of Austria and France.
Unconventional handover from Czechia, but quick thinking from Deidre to wrap her arms around Jessica Hislova as she handed over to Teresa Vobornikova to ensure that there wasn't any collision. So it did look like Deidre was just giving a hug to a Czech rival, but indeed ensuring that there was no one ending up on the ground, of which we've seen plenty through these exchanges over the course of the season already so far. So here's the chase of Lisa Vitozzi, and in tow with her you can see the Polish team, Finland in there as well, Slovenia, all making their way round this first lap of the second leg. But it is Justine Brassard-Boucher who leads. Anna Juppe is trying to stick with the Frenchwoman, but Chad Brassard-Boucher coming into this with so much confidence over, of course, after the victory earlier on this week.
Well, not only that, but she's the fastest skier in the world right now in biathlon. She's 5% faster than Anna Juppe by statistic ski speed over the course of the year. So Brassard-Boucher 5% faster, or 6% faster than the average time of the field. Juppe is still faster than the average skier in the field, but only by 1%. So just kind of giving you a sense of where they stack up in the world of skiing in this group.
Gasparin in third for Switzerland, Heidenberg in fourth, you can see Vitozzi in fifth, and Lamont-Tanneville climbing up the order with Norway. And here is the battle at the front of the field. Bib number 1, Justine Brassard-Boucher up against bib number 9, and the Austrian team who were handed over in an excellent position, thanking to the hard work of Anna Gandler.
Anna Juppe just done her 4th season on the World Cup. She's never been ranked better than 56th, and she's ranked 58th right now. So up against a very big foe for the French woman in front of her, a superstar in the sport. That's what I love about these relays, is you put these athletes in a position to maybe surprise, give them a chance to go against the best in the world. There's the chase 4 now, 4th through 6th. Juppe looking pretty solid. She hasn't really shown any sign that she's really struggling yet with the pace set by Justine Brassard-Boucher. Maybe right here is the first time we're seeing her tempo drop just a little bit to that of the French woman, and letting her go as this long climb in the shooting range is a real test to your fitness and whether you can hold your shooting together. Juppe probably smart to give Justine Brassard-Boucher a little bit of a leash here, heading into the shooting stage 1 for leg 2.
Chase duo, Heidenberg and Gasparin. You can see they are quite some way back of the leading duo, although it is I'm not sure if it's a turn of pace or just paying the price for the climb. Anna Juppe just dropping further back. There's Justine Brassard-Boucher. There still won't be much between them as they come into shooting 3.
The fear I have for Juppe is that she's just going a little too hard to keep the pace with Boucher as they pull 4 seconds in that loop out of the chasers, Heidenberg and Gasperin. And I would say that Juppe is, at best, a little slower than on average compared to Heidenberg and Gasperin.
Let's have a slightly better prone shooting hit rates than Juppe. She's up against one of the best in the world in Justine Boucher.
And just the experience of Boucher in these tight situations at the top of the field. There's a miss though for Boucher, door open for Austria.
And walking straight through it is Anna Juppe. A great performance in the range. How does Boucher respond? She gets that target down. Just one extra round used. And now we'll go in hunt of the Austrian team. Lisa Vitozzi away, all clean, 5 for 5. Gasperin as well. Heidenberg having to go into the extra rounds. She'll hope it's only once.
Vitozzi shoots 19.9 seconds, making 6 seconds on everybody so far in the shooting range. And then she puts the Italians 14.4 seconds back with that fast shooting. Entered the range 27 back and leaves 14 back. That is amazing shooting by Vitozzi.
She's shown some real clinical performances in the range this season, hasn't she, Lisa Vitozzi? Breathtaking at times, and it's great to have her back on the World Cup after she missed out last season.
Really solid shooting performance so far by Margie Fried, one extra round for the United States. They are sitting in the 12th spot.
And here is Justine Boucher in her shooting, the Olympic gold medalist in the mass start in 2022, but left in the prone position by Anna Juppe.
Oh, that last shot was lucky. Right, just about out at 4 o'clock. But it goes down, and Juppe takes the lead with that lucky last shot.
The biathlete in pursuit, as Chad's already mentioned, one of the fastest on the skis and continuing to improve her skiing performance this season in comparison to last season, Chad. And she's always been someone who's so exceptionally quick.
She is, and her shooting statistics aren't perfect, but when she puts it together like she did in the short individual, she doesn't need to be consistently good. She can still win when she has an exceptional day. That's kind of been the course of Justine Boucher's career. She shows up in big competitions. More than anything, she shows up in ways that where everybody is trying to be their best, she shows up most then. Like, for example, when she absolutely dominated the Beijing mass start to be Olympic champion, and you kind of wonder where that Justine Boucher is day in and day out, but she's able to muster something in big championship events.
Yeah, you look at the sprint competition and Lenza Heider last season where she took gold and then followed it up with a third in the pursuit.
And even this season, she has she's 7th overall in the overall World Cup standing, had 1 podium in 12 races, then comes here and wins the individual right before the Olympic Games, peaking mentally and physically right when it matters.
And that is the target, isn't it, really, this season, is ensuring that you're in the best form come the Olympic Games when things kick off 14 days time, the 8th of February, and this event will kick it all off in Antholz.
Boucher trailed by 7.9 seconds at the exit of the range. She's back in front now. It only took her a little over a kilometer to catch Anna Juppe and take that lead again.
And the way she does it, when you look at her body language, Chad, it looks like she's doing it with so much ease.
Yeah, and she gets so much glide off of every push. That's the thing that I think that you don't really see it just in the tempo. When you focus on tempo, that usually gives away how fast somebody's skiing. But at the same time, Boucher is not a tempo skier. She puts a lot of power into the course, and it's deceiving. She doesn't look like she's skiing any faster in terms of like her turnover rate, but she's so powerful with each kick of the leg, and she's got very good use of her upper body. She's a great technical skier and very strong. So
Justine Boucher and Team France lead through 9.6 kilometres. And now the climb up to the range.
You get a really good look at the strength from the side of Justine Brassard-Boucher. She's throwing her body weight onto the pole. She's very forward position. Very efficient V2 technique by the French woman. Fitoussi ceding a couple seconds now since the shooting range. She left 14.4 seconds back. She's 15.5. She's getting up a second, 1.1 seconds in this entire loop so far at 9.6 kilometers. And it's Sweden and Finland.
Gasparano, though, just behind us, she stayed very even, but it's just Fitoussi gliding away and getting closer to Anna Juppe and Justine Brassard-Boucher. And those are your top four as you look down the straight as they come round into the range. France leading. Oscar Lombardo will be next up after this shooting stage, and one more lap for Justine Brassard-Boucher before Kenton Fiormaillet brings it home for the French.
The thing I love most about watching Lisa Fitoussi do biathlon is where she finds the time. She does it very subtly. Like you don't even realize she's 27 seconds back coming into at the exchange, and then comes into shooting 3, and just erases 10 seconds on the shooting range because she's so quick to the first shot and so quick to her final shot. And now she is within proximity of the lead of this mixed relay, just like that.
What can she do on the range to close the gap? Lisa Fitoussi, we know she's got it within her, but this is brilliant from Brassard-Boucher, who'll be away in the lead, and quite convincingly so. It's a miss for both Austria and Italy. And two misses now for the Italian.
Yeah, you can see Brassard-Boucher being a little bit more under control in the ski leg, and Fitoussi charging. That's where the gap is opened up now. Again, Brassard-Boucher kind of forcing the Italian and the Austrian to think a little bit more, to push a little bit more, and not be quite as stable. But Switzerland goes clean 5 for 5.
And finally, the last target down for the Italians. Austria, though, still left standing. But now they will be away in 4th. There's the new order, as it's one more lap to go before the men take over the charge. France lead, Switzerland in 2nd, Italy in 3rd, Austria not too far behind of the bronze medal position in 4th. Sweden, though, all the hard work that they do to close the gap on the skis, it seems to disappear once they make their way into the range. It's a once around the penalty loop at least for Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold, who has to get this final one down to avoid it being a 300-metre trip around the loop, and that it will be, unfortunately.
Twice around for Ingrid Landmark-Tandervold, so her shooting demons continue to haunt her, as Venla Lehtonen will also go to the penalty loop. But meanwhile, Margie Fried for the United States, 2 extra rounds, has them 105 back in a pack. They're not really in medal contention, but they're among the group. If anything happens at the front of the field that unravels, can pounce for a top finish today.
And they have got Campbell Wright going on the next leg, ranked 13th in the world at the moment. And we know, as we speak about Justine Brassard-Boucher being able to turn it on for the big events, just exactly what Campbell Wright did this time last year in Lenzerheide when he took 2 silver medals. And then, of course, the Crystal Globe for the under-23s at the end of the season. Here's the shooting of Justine Brassard-Boucher. Cool, calm and composed, Chad.
She didn't do anything special. She shot in 25.4 seconds and hit all the shots. That's everything. You got Lisa Fitoussi. She can shoot under 20 seconds, but it took her 36.8 because she had the extra rounds. So the net is obviously in favor of the French, and now the gap is 25.9 seconds after shooting number 4, and they go to the men, and everybody's looking at who comes next. And the French have Oscar Lombardo, probably their biggest question mark for the quartet from France, with Fiormaillet going last. Switzerland has 2 unranked men. When I say unranked, they haven't scored in the top 40 yet this year, in Jeremy Fennell and Matthias Riebli. Their chances of hanging here are slim, but they're going to do their best. Czechia has a solid performer going next for them in Vyacheslav Hornik. He's 19th ranked in the overall World Cup standings. He's a good third leg, and they also have Kritzmar with Olympic silver medal credibility to his resume. Czechia in a good position right now to get on a podium here. And of course, Italy. We can't forget who's going last for Italy.
but Chad, they have lost 3 seconds since leaving the range. Justine Bressard-Boucher flying around this final lap, and Lisa Vitozzi hasn't found anything to match her yet. As you can see just at the bottom of the picture, the chase 3 going past.
I wouldn't expect, with the shooting done, I would expect in this 2-kilometer loop probably for Bressard-Boucher to put about 5 to 6 seconds on Vitozzi in this last loop, and if she does more than that, then it's probably a pretty spectacular last loop for her, maybe a tougher loop for Vitozzi.
So into the tunnel they go. Vitozzi leading Gaspalan and the Austrian Juppe. Bressard-Boucher already at the 11.6 kilometre mark. Flying towards the next exchange where Oscar Lombardo is waiting.
Bressard-Boucher has already put 3 seconds on, as you said. Make that 4 now. So still within that 6 seconds. Vitozzi doing a good job, I think, of doing damage control here on the skis this last loop. As is Anna Juppe and I think Esperant also pretty much keeping pace with the Italian.
Climb is only the real time that we've seen that pack of 3 really separate, and that was due to Lisa Vitozzi launching away up the climb, and you can see it has done a slight bit of damage. Lucas Hofer preparing to take over, and a reminder that it is the World Cup leader Tommaso Giacomel who is on the final leg as Austria roll him to position as well.
Patrick Jakob going for the Austrians. He will do battle with Switzerland. They're going with Jeremy Finello, who's very fast on the skis, but abysmal on the standing shooting. 46% hit rate for Finello this year. That doesn't give you a lot of confidence. And I don't know if that gives you any confidence either.
He's a walking meme, isn't he, Campbell Wright? He turns it on when he needs to, and he's an excellent competitor. And, you know, if you could bottle what Campbell Wright's able to do with showing his personality but also performing incredibly well, it would sell exceptionally well, as he indicates to his teammate Margie Frieders to just where he is, and it will be the handover for the Americans in 8th. Tony Vidmar on this next leg for Slovenia.
The United States just about 35 seconds out of the podium positions now. That is a gap that I think Campbell Wright can chew on and bite into in his third leg. Yeah, 35 seconds back of Switzerland. This is Lombardo, your leader. Lombardo, 93% from the prone position. That is his strength for this French team, is his shooting. Just has to try not to overdo it on this leg. And I think Estonia's day is going to come to an end here as they get lapped by Oscar Lombardo. And the rule is once you're lapped, you are pulled from the course.
He made an excellent start to life this season on the IBU Cup, Oscar Lombardo, and since leaping up to the World Cup in Hochfilzen, they haven't been able to remove him from the team. He's been a really welcome part of the relay team, winning with France in Ruhpolding last weekend, their first win of the season and his second win as part of a French relay quartet, and a very strong prone shooter, Oscar Lombardo. Here's the chase pack of Hofer, Finello and Patrick Jakob. And Vítězslav Hornig can chase for the home team of Czechia. Pursued very quickly though by Victor Brandt of Sweden.
Campbell right now already 55 seconds back. He started from 103 back, so making time on Lombardo is the American. Moving up onto the heels of Victor Brandt of Sweden. He's past Slovenia and Vidmar. So Campbell Wright trying to make a splash here in leg 3 for the United States and get them back into medal position to hand off to the final leg for the U.S., Maxime Germain.
He gathered plenty of experience in climbing, didn't he, last weekend, Chad, in Ruhpolding, finishing well below where he would have wanted to in the sprint and having to climb a very strong amount. It was around 20 places, I think, he leapt up in the pursuit. Campbell Wright in Ruhpolding last weekend. Plenty of climbing to do for the American, but he is already up to 7th and has cut the gap to 55.2 seconds behind Oscar Lombardo, who is continuing to collect lapped athletes here.
And Campbell Wright really enjoys this process of weaving his way through the field and making up time from further back. And you look at the ski speed of the 3 chasers. Finello is following in 3rd spot for Switzerland. Finello is a 83% prone shooter. There's nothing wrong with that, but the 46% standing shooter is a problem for Switzerland. They don't have to address quite yet. Another lap to think about that.
So another 3 seconds cut by Campbell Wright. Here's Slavhonig and Victor Brandt, who are in 5th and 6th. Around 44 seconds down on the time of Oscar Lombardo, who is already into the range. And he got down into the prone position. And will be very quickly joined by Lucas Hofer, Jamie Finello and Patrick Jacob.
First test of Oscar Lombardo for France in this mixed relay. There are the stats.
He does top them.
Nearly a miss at 12 o'clock. Nearly a miss at 10 o'clock. Right down the center for 4th hit.
And steadied it for a 5th. 5 out of 5 for Oscar Lombardo, who will continue on his way before the 3 behind him have even taken their first shot. A convincing lead so far for France. Can anyone disrupt the podium places behind?
Well, it wasn't pretty. Lombardo gets all 5, but 2 of them were very borderline. Finello goes 4 for 5. That's a good performance for him, but it is the Austrian who leaves first. Jakob, clean 5 for 5, keeping Austria amongst the leaders, and they're going to move into 2nd spot.
Another miss for Switzerland, but no error as he dips into the extra round. So Lucas Hofer, who is now away, joined by Switzerland and Czechia. Perfect for Vítězslav Horník, 5 out of 5. As does Victor Brandt, goes clean as well. It's a miss for Campbell Wright. Poland now arriving there, 4 for 4. Slovenia up there as well with Tony Vidmar as Poland are away in 7th. Campbell Wright finally gets that middle target down. It will be 8th as things stand for the USA.
Oscar Lombardo continues to lead Victor Brandt, the fastest shooter of that shooting stage, 23.6 seconds from poles down to poles up for Victor Brandt. That's a solid performance, and he has Sweden still in the mix, leaving the range 39.4 seconds back, just 8 seconds off the podium. And Hofer holding down 3rd for Italy, but it was Patrick Jacob who really performed well for Austria and keeps Austria in the mix after the 5th shooting stage.
Well, there was jokes this week that the stand here at Nove Mesto was a French private party because they blocked out the top 2 in both the individual races. And could they find themselves on top spot once again today in the mixed relay? Well, it's looking likely. Oscar Lombardo has a healthy advantage here, leaving shooting 5. It was 22.8 seconds over Patrick Jacob. Lucas Hofer 31.8 seconds down, and of course Quentin Villemayer going on the final leg. But Tommaso Giacomel is lurking, waiting to be introduced. One final visit to the range and one final lap after this one for those who are on this 3rd leg as Lucas Hofer decides to attack up the climb.
This is where it gets hard for Jakob. Jakob being 6-7% slower than Lucas Hofer by reputation and by statistic on the skis, and you can see Jakob left with a 9-second advantage over Hofer, and in less than a kilometer it's been eaten up and he's been passed. And Campbell right now trying to move up. moves from 8th to 7th past Gunka of Poland. And 53 back. Less than 20 seconds to the podium for the United States. And that's something that Germain and Wright can pull off here, but it's going to take continued good shooting. They've used 4 extra rounds to be in the podium or in the podium fight. They probably can't go more than 0+6 for the entire day. They're at 0+4. Stay out of the penalty loop, first of all, and use a total of less than 6 extra rounds. That would be my mark for the United States to stay in podium contention by the end. It's going to take some clean shooting.
Yeah, 9 extra rounds used, Chad, by the Italians. It's just 4 for France and Oscar Lombardo, who's gone through the 15.6 kilometre mark. We're watching those who are chasing, and a gap has indeed developed between Patrick Jacob, Jeremy Finello and Lucas Hoffer, who sits in second. Here is Lombardo, the leader.
Best shooting team so far is the Austrians. That's why they're there. They've only used 2 extra rounds through 5 shooting stages. That's a pretty solid performance. But Jacob, you can see he's struggling on the skis now as the Swiss Finello goes by him. And you can see Jacob tries to respawn, and I'm not sure that's the right choice coming into the shooting range. You may just want to give them the few seconds that they can take on the skis, because statistically they do it regularly, those 2 in front of them.
Campbell Wright 51 seconds behind the pace of Oscar Lombardo, but as you said, Chad, around 30 seconds now outside of the podium positions.
It's 26 seconds back of to be exact, 26 seconds to the 3rd position. But here comes Oscar Lombardo now. The French and the Swiss, the Czechs, the Swedes, and the Americans, all with 0+4. Only bettered by Austria so far with 2 extra rounds, and a fading Patrick Jacob on the skis.
So here's Lombardo. Final shooting stage for the Frenchman.
Almost jumped on that second shot and then thought better of it.
And a perfect day for Oscar Lombardo.
The hold looked shaky, but he had great trigger squeeze every time. A lot of movement in the barrel, and you could tell he was tired, but he did a great job of not jumping on the shots. He tried to on the second shot, and he stopped himself. And look at Lucas Hoffer mow him down.
And he does. It's great. 5 for 5 for Lucas Hoffer. Italy into second convincingly, because it's 3 misses for Switzerland, 2 for Austria. Sweden with an opportunity to go into the medal positions, and they will with Victor Brandt.
Now Campbell Wright and Maxime Germain trying to do battle with Sweden for the 3rd spot. Italy and France looking good out front, 16 seconds separating them. Campbell Wright is 3 for 3. Everybody else with a miss so far.
There's the miss for Campbell Wright. Switzerland are once around the penalty loop. Austria struggling. They need to get this down to avoid the penalty loop themselves, and they do. Campbell Wright gets it down as well. Just 1 extra round used, and he'll be away in this pack who are battling for 4th at the minute, but they could still reel in Victor Brandt. They're 55 seconds on average down on the Swede, who was out in 3rd.
And it's a nice pack that's actually going to work well together. Hornig and Wright can make some time on this last lap, and gives Maxime Germain some company to try to work through the field. As you see, Jeremy Finello for Switzerland. Not a huge surprise that he went to the penalty loop. Just statistically, that's where he would end up, and doing a relatively good job of keeping it just to 1 penalty loop.
Well, what a battle this is set up for the final leg between Kenton Filmaye and Tommaso Giacomel.
Yeah, Lombardo needs to give Kenton Filmaye every second he can. Kenton Filmaye is a great last leg, but Tommaso Giacomel is on another level of skiing lately, and we've seen it. When somebody's that hot on the skis, you want to get your teammate as much time as you possibly can before putting them up against the world number 1.
Well, he's been such a stable addition, Oscar Lombardo, to this French team. We saw it last week in Ruhpolding, but Chad, just look at his shooting today. It's been a perfect day in the range, and he's really held himself well.
Absolutely, and I think that just shows you how deep the French can go. We don't get to always see that depth because they're at the IBU Cup. But Lombardo steps up and is absolutely world-class today. He's not giving anything to anyone. And now Campbell Wright moves into fourth ahead of Hornig, and they've dropped Jakob.
Less than 20 seconds separating Campbell Wright and Victor Brandt, who found himself in no man's land, the Swede, and has dropped back from the time being set by Oscar Lombardo. Campbell Wright reeling him in here.
Campbell Wright setting the fastest last loop so far as well. The American team was 6th in the opening mixed relay. Nearly the same quartet. Actually, looking back with Chloe Levins in that spot, Margie Fried has really improved this season. Her shooting times, her shooting scores, and has put the United States in a really competitive position. It's tough to get on the podium. Still 19 seconds off the podium are the United States from Sweden and Victor Brandt.
Yeah, and setting her own personal best as well this week. Margie Fried 31st in the short individual as the French and Italian final leg athletes watch on. Quentin Fillon-Maillet and Tommaso Giacomel. Lucas Hoffer fighting up the climb, giving every last bit.
Well, if you're a fan of tempo skiing, that is a man who has tempo. Always Lucas Hofer, that fast-twitch muscle fiber, driving to the finish line. He's trying to take as much time as he can for Tommaso Giacomel. Will it be enough?
So Quentin Fillon-Maillet is away. Waiting is Tommaso Giacomel, the Italian rocket, just waiting to be launched by his teammate Lucas Hofer. And the World Cup leader is away.
Hofer gets him a couple more seconds as Maxime Germain, with a smile and a cool attitude, will go out fourth and chasing Malte Stefansson of Sweden. It's not Sebastian Samuelsson, and that is all the difference for the United States to try to get on the podium. Czechia will send out Mikael Kritzmar. Not an easy task either for the United States.
Well, the USA's best finish in a mixed relay before today was fourth. Can they go one step further and find themselves on the podium?
Well, Victor Brandt comes in with the fastest leg time by 1/10 of a second over Campbell Wright. So that tells you just how well Victor Brandt did today, keeping Sweden in the mix with a great performance. Hofer was 6 seconds behind Wright and Brandt on that leg. Lombardo finishes fifth in that standing, 18 seconds slower than Victor Brandt and Campbell Wright.
So Planko of Slovenia. As the Slovenians hand over in 10th. We'll go back out to the front of the field. Quentin Fillon-Maillet had a 14.8 second advantage as he picks up the baton from Oscar Lombardo. And there is Tommaso Giacomel lurking behind. Finished 10th in the short individual just a couple of days ago.
Now we're going to get a sense of how the battle is stacking up on the ski speed between the leader here, Quentin Fillon-Maillet, who will go past Kazakhstan and relegate them out of the competition as they get lapped. And here's Tommaso Giacomel. He trailed
Who is
by...
closing.
Yes, 2 seconds already he's gained, 2.5 seconds. There you see the difference in the tempo as well. His tempo is a little slower, but very powerful as Giacomel. Mikael Kritzmar and Maxime Germain. Germain, a dual citizen, or a dual nationality, French and American. Lived most of his life in Alaska. And is a member of the Vermont National Guard. 45 seconds back now. The United States making some time after the exchange. They're exchange 3, they're 45 back. So, but they're staying the same. 45. They've lost a half a second to Fillon-Maillet. So Germain out very, very confidently and matching the speed of those at the front of the field. Stefansson, though, coming 3 seconds closer to Germain. So Germain making some time on the Swedes and trailed the podium spots by just 7 seconds now. And at 18.8 kilometers, Jacomel continues to chip away at the 14-second lead that they held, or that they trailed the French. Jacomel now 7 seconds back at 19.6K.
He's almost halved it, Tommaso Jacomel. He's on a charge here.
And this is against Quentin Fillon-Maillet. This is not against some B-rated skier. Tommaso Jacomel almost at will closing down most of the 14 seconds that, at least half of the 14 seconds that he was handed at the exchange in just lap number 1. Stefansson going the wrong way.
As into the range they come. The penultimate visit on this penultimate day of action before the Olympic Games kick off in 14 days' time. The French are packing out the stands here in Czechia, and they are delighted to see their team up top. But the gap has closed significantly, almost halved by Tommaso Jacomel. And he will pull up alongside Quentin Fillon-Maillet.
What was a nice lead is now virtually nothing.
Starts with a miss, so Quentin Fillon-Maillet. Miss for Italy. And Tommaso Jacomel, as into the extra rounds goes the Frenchman.
All even after 5.
Another miss for France. And Italy away, and Tommaso Jacomel will lead. But he will be pursued ever so closely by Quentin Fillon-Maillet, as now the battle for third opens up.
The beauty of the extra rounds, now the Czechs back in it as well, with the United States chasing Malte Stefansson of Sweden. Maxime Germain puts the United States in the podium position with 2 ski laps and 1 shooting stage left, but he's going to have company with the veteran Mikael Kritzmar. Malte Stefansson can only watch and try to hit his final 2 shots.
But they've never finished on the podium, the USA. 4th was their best before today, and they'll exit the range in 3rd. But Kritzmar, who boasts that Olympic silver medal, is still there in 4th. And now Sweden are away, avoiding the penalty loop.
Maxime Germain with a heroic prone shooting stage. They're not going to catch France in second, 4.1 seconds back of Tommaso Jacomel, unless an absolute meltdown happens. But Kritzmar will do battle for the home team, and the Americans will not be the favorites of the crowd, but in a great position nonetheless with 1 shooting stage left. An historic moment for the United States biathlon team.
If they can keep it up. The lead is in the hands of Italy, and Tommaso Jacomel.
Fastest shooter of that shooting stage so far, Otto Invenius, but way down the order, 136 back at Fry of Norway, also quicker, 23.5, but the fastest of the people at the front, Germain, puts 3 seconds on Kritzmar in the shooting range of the 3rd fastest shooting time. But Jacomel, 7 seconds faster than Fillon-Maillet on the course. Last loop.
keep your eyes on the gap between Maxime Germain and Klichmar of Czechia. Just 6 seconds.
Malte Stefansson just trying to manage the lost time. He's over a minute back now. He was third at 34 seconds back. Now he's fifth at 110 back after a lap and a half and a shooting stage. Isak Fry now coming, barreling out the back. He's probably going to run out of real estate to get within podium fighting position, though.
And here is the man and the team who leads, Tommaso Giacomel. Italy only have 2 victories in this event, and they were over half a decade ago. Östersund in 2019 was the last time they stood atop the podium. They'd won in Kontiolahti the year before that. And could Tommaso Giacomel be leading them to a 3rd victory, or will it be our winners in Östersund of last year? France and Kenton Fiormaillet, they're 15.7 seconds back. And then a really intriguing battle for the final spot on the podium. Maxime Germain and the USA currently occupy it, having never finished on the podium in this discipline. Klichmar of Czechia. He's not too far behind in 4th, and on home snow, well, we know how much the Czech athletes value this event and take pride in their results in it. With 6 seconds, the last gap between 3rd and 4th. It's down to 4 now.
And what a way to pick a day to be in 3rd fighting for a medal with the hometown crowd in Nove Mesto against you.
So in for the final shoot comes Tommaso Giacomel of Italy. Exceptional, and Tommaso Giacomel will win it for the Italians. You cannot get better than that.
Fast
in
and
the
down.
weeks,
Fast and down the middle.
the weeks before the Olympic Games kick off on home snow, Tommaso Giacomel with some excellent shooting, and if he was side by side, would have had such a show with Kenton Fiormaillet, who just drops the last after trying to replicate what the Italian has done. And they are well away, but it won't be the gold medal this time round for France. It will go to the Italians, and what a job they've done for their 3rd victory in this discipline. Now here is the battle that we'll keep our eyes on. Maxime Germain shooting for a bronze medal for the USA.
The theatrics of 1 and 2 are gone. A true test of mettle here.
And it's a great start for the American. There's a miss though.
All even. Oh, Maxime Germain misses.
USA. And now they both get it down side by side. What a battle this final lap will be. Maxime Germain leading by just a couple of fractions over the Czech team. And the experienced Klichmar.
It doesn't get any tighter than that. Each with an extra round. Maxime Germain missed 2. Had to go to a 2nd extra round to get it down. I said to get on the podium they needed a 0 + 6 or better. They're at 0 + 7 today. Prophetic words, I guess. But it comes down to a ski race now.
It does, because the job has been done for Tommaso Giacomel. 23.2 seconds. He leads coming out of shooting 8, and that was where the job was done and secured. Tommaso Giacomel takes Italy to their 3rd victory in this discipline, just 14 days before they'll return on home snow to contend at the Olympic Games in the mixed relay. So sat just behind Klichmar is Maxime Germain of the USA. This, if it finishes how it currently stands, would equal their best performance. But they want one better, the USA. They want that elusive podium.
Statistically, Klichmar is a % better on the skis this year than Germain over the course of the season. But who has the finishing flourish? That's the question. It's about fast twitch muscle fiber. It's about being able to push the lactate high at the end of the race. Germain's smart to just sit on Kritzmar. I don't think either of them know each other well enough to know who's got what in the final 100 meters.
And who can harness the noise? Because it will be the man who's currently in third who will have that home advantage. And of course, the experience on being on so many medal-winning teams for Czechia in this discipline in the past, who will have that advantage. Still very little to separate them. As hot on the heels is Maxime Germain.
Well, Maxime Germain will have to hush a massive crowd in order to get the Americans' first podium finish. And that is a distinctive, it's going to be a distinctive victory if he can pull it off. And it is a tense moment for Maxime Germain.
It would be a 10th podium in this discipline.
Nearly fell on that 180-degree turn.
As the battle rages on behind Tommaso Giacomel. You can take the time to enjoy this moment, because in just a couple of weeks' time it will all be getting very, very serious indeed. The Olympic Games on the horizon, Tommaso Giacomel on top of the world. The Italians on fire going into a home games, and there's no better way to end with just the mass start to come tomorrow. The Italians are flying. Tommaso Giacomel brings it home. Italy have their third victory in this discipline on the World Cup, and it couldn't look better. 14 days' time will kick off the Olympic Games in Italy in this discipline, with the Italians having the momentum. Second place goes to France, and ever the entertainer, Quentin Fillon-Maillet, geeing up the crowd, who have been ever so in the French favour over the course of the last couple of days. And here we go, the sprint is on, one final climb, and Maxime Germain battling all the way. Kretschmar, he knows this course ever so well, and he has the advantage. And has he broken the young American? He'll be urged all the way home through the packed out grandstand here as they make their way towards the finish line, and Kretschmar has it, the advantage. He looks over his shoulder. It's job well done. He takes the time to celebrate on home snow. Czechia have their bronze. A brilliant battle all the way to the finish line, but still an excellent day for the USA, who equal their best ever finish in a mixed relay, finishing fourth. But the celebrations, the party in full flow in Nove Mesto.
Michael Kritzmar bringing the crowd to a crescendo and dusting the American in the final 100 meters. Making it no question after a full lap of questioning.
Well, it's an excellent climb for Isak Frey, who was handed over with so much work to do round the penalty loop. The Norwegians had to go twice, and Isak Frey across the line in sixth. An excellent recovery from the young Norwegian, and the celebrations there from the team from the USA. Chad, this is such a momentous day, not to be in terms of the podium, but equaling their best ever finish. It all bodes so well.
I just think being in the mix the whole way, the two women starting out, Dieter Irwin and Margie Fried, 0+7, they can shoot better than that. They have in the past, but to be in it for the podium with that many misses is a pretty great testament to where, first of all, that Margie Fried has come in the course of this season. Just from the beginning of the season to now, her performance alone floated the United States to this opportunity. As Dieter Irwin has shown she's capable of this, as have the other three, Campbell Wright and Maxime Germain. And they just came up against a very fast finishing Michael Kritzmar to fall short of their first podium. It was still a great day, a great performance all the way around. And when you find yourself ahead of Sweden and Norway, that's never a bad thing if you're the United States either. Slovenia 8th, Finland 9th, Switzerland 10th, Germany in 11th, and Poland in 12th. This is Slovakia coming in for the 13th position. Only 14 teams will finish, as Latvia, Kazakhstan, Romania, Lithuania, Canada, and Estonia all were lapped. Boy, nothing feels better than to bring home a podium finish for your home crowd, especially when it's as loud and raucous as Nove Mesto.
Well, it always felt, Chad, that the advantage would be with the Czech team on the final lap. The noise this week already has been exceptional, and as we hit the weekend, even the earlier race today, the stands packed out. They're so passionate, this crowd in this nation, about their biathlon, and it's a race discipline as well where the Czechs tend to fare so well. World champions in 2015. They've got an Olympic medal in this discipline, and of course the silver from last year in Nove Mesto. And we mentioned it in terms of the Italians, but also the Czechs before the race kicked off as well. It bodes ever so well going into the Olympic Games in just 2 weeks' time.
Just a ton of momentum and confidence. That's a big. I mean, the Olympic Games is already such a huge burden emotionally. As you see the Czech team just thrilled with their podium finish. But to come into the Olympic Games, even though you know that Sweden didn't have all of its stars on the line, even though you know Norway didn't, it still gives you a lot of confidence and makes you carry that momentum in with you into the Olympic Games if you're Italy. And you can't buy that. That has to be created. And I would say that Italy is on a high right now heading into their home Olympics.
Well, our final finishers, the team from Ukraine.
Last mixed relay win for Italy was back in Kontiolahti in the 17-18 season. So it's quite a while ago.
Yeah, this third mixed relay victory, standing atop the podium in the 2019 season as well in Östersund.
Oh, that's right, yep. I missed that one. 2019.
It has been a while. But Chad, when we looked at these start lists, it would come as a surprise to no one, these shots of Tommaso Giacomelli coming across the line. The form that he's in and the team that the Italians put out, of course, with Lucas Hoffer as well standing on the podium earlier this week, and Dorothea Viera and Lisa Vitozzi performing ever so well in their own individual races over the course of the first half of this season too. The Italians were always going to be the team to beat. France, you'd have had them up there as well, and Czechia performing exceptionally well to take third and equaling their best ever result on the World Cup in a mixed relay. The United States taking fourth ahead of Sweden.
It's a great race all the way around. The Italians, thanks for catching that for me. The Italians actually won a year sooner in Östersund. The commonality between that relay team is Lisa Vitozzi, Dorothea Viera, and Lucas Hoffer. What they didn't anticipate yet was the emergence of the great Tommaso Giacomelli, and that is the great difference maker as they win again for the first time since Östersund in 2019. Great performance, though, overall. Just shows you how big of a deal having the number one man in the world on your team flips over 45 seconds in his leg on Quentin Filme, one of the best to ever do the sport.
Tommy, what an amazing competition today. Just perfect leg from you. Third win of the Italian team, and the last one was in 2019. So how special was it?
It was, I think, a really good day. I think my teammates have done a good job today, and I had a good position to attack in my leg, and yeah, I think I did well. So yeah, of course, I'm really happy, and I think the whole team also, the Vax team, the coaches, and everyone today did a really good job. So yeah, really a really good day to be Italian today.
Did you have chance to enjoy this crazy crowds here when you were finishing?
Yeah, on the last loop I was soaking in a lot of positive energy. The crowds here are really amazing. It's almost difficult to hear my own heartbeat. So yeah, it was a really special day.
Well, always great to hear from Tommaso Giacomelli, Chad. He strikes a man who's carrying so much confidence into the Olympic Games, and well, his mentality, his ability to turn up over and over and over again despite the challenges he's gone through this season, and the biathlon family as a whole have gone through this season, is nothing short of exceptional.
Yeah, and I think it maybe has given him some things to maybe dispel or disperse some of the Olympic pressure. I think when you lose somebody close to you like this biathlon family has, it kind of puts everything in perspective and maybe has made it possibly a little bit easier for Tommaso Giacomelli to deal with the pressure that was certainly going to fall on him this season. But he continues to do biathlon at a very high level, and I think that easy to miss in watching today's performance is how he actually dominated Quentin Fillon in the final lap. I mean, Quentin Fillon didn't do poorly at all. But a 45-second flip on the great Quentin Fillon just shows you just at the level that Tommaso Giacomelli is doing biathlon right now, and it's going to be really hard to beat him at the Olympics if he continues to do what he's doing. Get a look at the Nations Cup scores, the all-important measurement of how the teams qualify for Olympic spots, for World Cup start spots. The United States trying to move up the Women's Nation Cup score to get 4 starters again this year. I think they're going to do that. They're on course to do that right now with this strong team that they're fielding this season with Lucy Anderson and Margie Freed moving up the order in the overall World Cup pecking order. The United States only 3 starters at the moment, which is they've had to divvy up between the 4 Olympic qualifiers, but trying to get that 4th spot back for the 2026-27 season through the Nations Cup score, which is how you accomplish that. France staying atop the World Cup mixed relay score, came in with 155 points over Norway, and they stretch that lead now to 45 points in the lead after today's mixed and single mixed relay competitions. Italy moves up to 3rd after coming into the weekend in 4th.
Well, the mass start races to come tomorrow. And there will be one big party in Nove Mesto tonight. Performance of the day, though, the Italian quartet carry all the momentum into the Olympic Games on home snow. Finished second in Östersund, stepping up tonight to finish on top spot. Just the third time they've done it on the World Cup and the first time since 2019. Another very composed performance from Oscar Lombardo on leg number 3 today of France. Their quartet of Ocean Michelon, Justine Bressard-Boucher, Oscar Lombardo and Kenton Fiormaillet taking the silver medal. And it is a hard-fought and well-deserved bronze for the Czech team of Jessica Jisova, Poliza Vobornikova, Vyacheslav Hornig and Mikhail Krichmar.
Ladies and gentlemen, the flower and award ceremony for the mixed relay.
Dámy a pánové, toto je slavnostní ceremoniál závodu smíšených štafet v rámci světového poháru v Novém Městě na Moravě. Ceny nejlepší budou předávat viceprezident Mezinárodní biatlonové unie, pan Jiří Hamza. Srdečně zdravíme předsedu Senátu Parlamentu České republiky, pana Miloše Vystrčila. A srdečně zdravíme velkého fanouška biatlonu s námi, pan herec Miroslav Donutil. Na třetím místě a bronzový tým Česka!
Well, the bronze medal, but the loudest roar of the day. The Czech team step up onto the podium. Well, Chad, each and every one of their faces a picture.
Yeah, you've got the first leg, Jessica Jislo, a veteran of the team, but hasn't scored a single World Cup point in the top 40 herself, but she has proven that her shooting prowess in the first leg of a relay is valuable, and they put her in this relay, and they come away with a medal in front of a home crowd, and this will be a memory all of them will remember. It's a big moment for the Czechs to win a World Cup podium, finishing a mixed relay at Nove Mesto, and it's going to, as you said, it's going to be party time Saturday night tonight in the Czech Republic.
Know when to step up as well. Plenty of history of it, particularly over the course of the last 10 years. Some incredible performances in this discipline as a team, including a world title. They'll be desperate to replicate that at the Olympic Games in 14 days' time. As will France. A focus there on Oscar Lombardo. Chad, you have to say, as you highlighted him as the weakest link, and plenty would be fair too. 22nd in the world this season, but wow, has he stepped up and become a really important part of the relay teams that he's worked in.
Absolutely. He was not the weakest link in any way, shape, or form. The fact is that Tommaso Giacomel just had too much to overpower everybody, and Lucas Hofer had a great shooting performance. Lombardo did his part to bring the French team home in a victorious position. He just came up against a very strong Italian team today, and it was a good performance all the way around. I'm not sure Lombardo will get the nod with the French team as strong as it is. It'd be highly unlikely to see him race at all at the Olympic Games, even though he's qualified. I believe he's qualified for the team and he's on the roster. But with only 4 competitive starts for each discipline at the Olympic Games, it gets very tough for countries like France and Norway to give their deeper members of the team any start positions in those Olympic Games. It gets to be tough when you're in that position because there's no racing for you to do. If you're just at the Olympics and you're not going to race, it stays tough to keep your season on track. In fact, the Norwegians are going to keep Isak Frey off the out of the Olympic Village until the second week. He's going to race the Open European Championships. That's what Per Bottinen told us in an interview earlier this week. So keeping him active and racing.
Now the Italians led up to the podium by Dorotea Vera Well, she won't see it as it just yet, but a season that feels like a farewell tour for the Italian. And an Olympic Games on the horizon where she will be expected to shine with the results of the last couple of months in particular. It's well, a special moment for everyone involved in the Czech team. But it is the Italians who stand atop the podium for the third time in a mixed relay on the World Cup and carry the momentum into the first day of the Olympic Games on the 8th of February. The next time when this event will be run. Upgrading their silver medal from Östersund into gold. And it just speaks volumes of the fitness of this team and this quartet as a whole. So there's your podium. The final team events before the Olympic Games concluded. Czechia taking bronze on home snow. France settling for second. It's the Italians who blew everyone out of the water to finish on top spot. And we will be back tomorrow for one final race day on the World Cup before the IBU Biathlon World Cup takes its pause for the Olympic Games in Antholz in 14 days' time. We'll be back tomorrow for the two mass starts, and those kick off at 3:15 Central European time. And of course, as always, we hope you can join us here on Eurovision Sport.